Why most people give up and how not to be one of them. Every day, someone gives up on a dream that once lit them on fire. They walk away from a business they were passionate about, a book they wanted to write, a body they were working to rebuild, or a version of themselves they were finally becoming. They don't give up because they're lazy. They don't give up because they're weak. They give up because no one ever taught them what to do when motivation runs out. When failure shows up, when progress moves slower than pain. And here's the truth most people won't say out loud. At some point, you will want to quit. You'll hit the wall. You'll question if it's worth it. You'll wonder if you're just not meant for it. And in those moments, most people stop. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they didn't know that the wall isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of real growth. This book is about the people who kept going. The ones who had every reason to quit but didn't. The ones who broke down, doubted themselves, started over 100 times, and still found a way to rise. It's about the tools, the mindset shifts, the truths nobody told you, and the battles you must face if you want to do something extraordinary with your life. You don't need more motivation. You need more resilience. You need to understand how progress actually works, how failure actually feels, and how success is never as clean as the internet makes it look. You're going to face resistance. You're going to feel stuck. And you're going to have days where it seems easier to just give up. But if you can learn to fight through those moments, if you can keep showing up when it's boring, painful, and messy, you will become unstoppable. Most people give up. This book is about making sure you don't. Subscribe to never miss a book like this one. Chapter 1. The Quiet Crisis. Why giving up happens more than you think every day. Millions of people wake up full of hope and dreams. They decide to make a change, to start a business, write a book, get healthier, or become a better version of themselves. At the start, the excitement is powerful. The vision of success feels close and real. They can almost taste, but for most, that excitement doesn't last. The path becomes harder than they imagined. The progress slows down. Obstacles appear, often unexpectedly. Motivation fades. Doubts creep in. And slowly, sometimes almost unnoticed, they give up. This is the quiet crisis that underlies why most people don't reach their goals. It's easy to blame lack of discipline, laziness, or even talent. But the truth is far more complex. Most people give up not because they don't want success, but because they were never taught how to deal with the struggles that come with pursuing it. The invisible struggle behind giving up. When you look at successful people, you might think they have it easy. But what you don't see are the countless setbacks, failures, and moments of wanting to quit. The difference is they learned how to push through. Most people, however, face these struggles alone, without guidance, without support, and without strategies to keep going. The journey starts with enthusiasm, often called the honeymoon phase. You're energized, motivated, and ready to conquer the world. But enthusiasm alone isn't enough. It's fragile because it depends mostly on emotions, which fluctuate. Then reality sets in. You run into problems. Progress stalls. Life's demands pull you away. At this point, the mental battle begins. You might hear a voice inside your head saying things like, "Maybe I'm not cut out for this. I'm just wasting my time. It's too hard. I should quit." These thoughts are normal, but if left unchecked, they grow louder, convincing you to give up. Why giving up is so common? Giving up often happens because lack of preparation for the hard parts. No one warns you that the middle of the journey will be grueling. Most advice focuses on starting strong. Isolation. You face challenges alone without mentors or supportive communities to help guide you. False expectations. You expect fast, easy results. When the reality is slow and messy, you feel like a failure. Fear of failure and judgment. Fear convinces you that quitting is safer than risking embarrassment or loss. Burnout. Without proper habits or rest, your energy drains, and quitting feels like relief. But it doesn't have to be this way. The key to not giving up lies in understanding these forces and learning how to navigate them. This book will help you recognize the mental traps that lead to quitting, build resilience and patience to endure the tough times, develop habits and systems that create lasting momentum, find or build communities that lift you up. Reframe failure as a necessary part of growth, not a stopping point. Success is not about never falling. It's about getting back up every time you do. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need extraordinary willpower. You need a plan and mindset that keep you moving forward, even when the path is steep and the goal feels far away. If you're ready to stop being part of the majority who give up and start joining the minority who persevere, this journey is for you. Let's begin. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Overnight Success. Why patience is your most powerful weapon. When we look at success stories, the entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and leaders, it's easy to believe they achieved greatness quickly, almost overnight. Headlines shout about viral hits, breakthrough moments, and rapid rises to fame. Social media often showcases the highlight reels, but rarely the long hours of work, failure, and persistence behind the scene. This creates a dangerous illusion. Success should be fast, that if it's not happening quickly, you're failing. The truth is, success is almost always a slow, steady climb, a marathon, not a sprint. The hidden timeline behind every success, behind every overnight success, is a hidden timeline filled with years of effort. Public only sees the moment someone arrives at the peak, but the journey often starts long before, with countless small steps, failures, and lessons. Imagine an iceberg. The visible tip is success, fame, money, recognition. But beneath the surface lies the bulk of unseen work. Practice, setbacks, persistence, and slow progress. Knowing this can shift your perspective. You stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle or end. You start to appreciate that growth takes time. Why we want instant results. Our brains are wired for quick rewards, a survival mechanism from when instant gratification often meant safety or food. But for long-term goals, this wiring works against us. When progress isn't immediate, motivation fades. This impatience can make slow growth feel like failure, causing many to quit early. How to cultivate patience that fuels persistence. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Celebrate small daily wins and efforts. When the journey itself becomes rewarding, motivation lasts longer. Set micro goals. Break big goals into tiny, achievable steps. This creates momentum and a sense of progress. Practice mindfulness. Being present helps reduce anxiety about the future and fosters patience. Keep a progress journal. Track your growth over weeks and months. Seeing your own improvement reinforces patience. Real stories of patience paying off. J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before Harry Potter was published. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Their stories show that persistence over time leads to success. Patience is not passive waiting. It's active endurance, a mindset that embraces the reality that meaningful achievements take time. If you want to avoid giving up, start by making patience your greatest ally. Chapter 3. The Mindset Trap. How your thoughts can either break you or build you. The toughest battle you will face on your journey isn't external. It's inside your mind. Your thoughts shape your emotions, decisions, and actions. When challenges arise, the way you think about those challenges determines whether you push forward or give up. Most people fall into what we call the mindset trap, a cycle of negative thinking that convinces them to quit before they've truly tried. What is the mindset trap? Imagine climbing a steep hill. Halfway up, your legs burn, your breath shortens, and your mind whispers, "I'm not strong enough. This is too hard. Why even try? I'll never make it." These are not facts. They are stories your brain creates, often fueled by fear and habit. But if you believe these thoughts, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. The mindset trap is letting these limiting beliefs control your path. Why does the mindset trap happen? Your brain's job is to keep you safe. When you face discomfort, it tries to protect you by steering you away from risk, even if that risk is necessary growth. Repeated negative thoughts build neural pathways that make doubt automatic. Without awareness, these patterns quietly erode confidence and determination. How to break free: become the observer of your thoughts. Notice negative thoughts without automatically accepting them. Challenge limiting beliefs. Ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? What evidence do I have against it? What advice would I give a friend? Replace negativity with empowering stories. Swap, I can't do this, for I'm growing every day. Visualize success. Regularly picture overcoming obstacles and succeeding. Practice gratitude and celebrate small wins. Focus shifts from fear to hope. The power of a growth mindset. Research shows people who believe abilities can improve through effort are more likely to persevere. Failures become lessons, not judgments. Stories of mindset shifts. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but used that setback to fuel greatness. Oprah Winfrey overcame hardships by believing in her potential. They faced challenges, but their mindset made the difference. Your thoughts can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Training your mind to support you is one of the most powerful steps to never giving up. Chapter 4. The Power of Habits. How small actions create unstoppable momentum. Success rarely comes from grand gestures or massive leaps. Instead, it grows quietly and steadily from small, consistent actions repeated over time. This is the power of habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of your daily life. They shape how you spend your time, how you respond to challenges, and whether you keep moving forward or fall back into old patterns. Understanding how habits work and how to build the right ones is one of the most effective ways to avoid giving up. Why habits matter more than motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It can light the fire, but it's unreliable and fluctuates daily. Habits are the fuel that keeps the fire burning steadily. When you build good habits, you create a system that works even when motivation wanes. Habits automate progress by turning actions into nearly automatic behaviors. How habits form. Habits follow a simple loop: cue, routine, reward. Cue, a trigger that tells your brain to start a behavior. Routine, the behavior itself. Reward, the benefit your brain receives, which reinforces the habit. For example, if your goal is to write every day, cue, sitting at your desk after breakfast. Routine, writing for 10 minutes. Reward, feeling accomplished or enjoying a coffee afterward. How to build habits that keep you going. Start small. Don't try to overhaul your life overnight. Start with tiny habits that feel manageable and build confidence. Anchor new habits to existing routines. Tie a new habit to something you already do, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. Make it enjoyable. Find ways to make habits rewarding. Pair activities with something you like, such as listening to music or treating yourself after completion. Track your progress. Use a journal, app, or calendar to mark each day you follow through. Seeing streaks build motivates continuation. Plan for obstacles. Anticipate challenges and have strategies ready, like shorter sessions on busy days or accountability partners to check in with. The compound effect of consistency. Habits may feel insignificant in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, their impact compounds. Small daily improvements lead to remarkable transformations. It's like saving $1 a day. It adds up surprisingly fast. Habits that help you push through. Daily reflection or journaling. Setting clear intentions each morning. Regular exercise to boost energy. Mindfulness or meditation to reduce stress. Connecting with supportive people. Building strong habits is not about perfection. It's about showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it. Over time, these habits become the foundation that prevents you from giving up. Chapter 5. The Role of Support. Why you can't do it alone. Trying to reach a big goal alone is like climbing a mountain without a rope or guide. The path is steeper, the risks greater, and the chance of turning back higher. Support isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Yet many people give up because they isolate themselves during the hardest moments. They think they must do it all on their own, or they fear being judged if they ask for help. This chapter explores why building a support system is one of the strongest defenses against quitting, and how to create one that fuels your progress. Why support matters. Humans are wired for connection. Social support helps us handle stress, stay motivated, and gain new perspectives. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, your resilience increases dramatically. Support provides accountability. Knowing someone is cheering you on or checking in makes you more likely to follow through. Encouragement. During tough times, a kind word or reminder can renew your energy. Advice and mentorship. Experienced guides help you avoid common mistakes and see solutions you might miss. Shared wisdom. Peers facing similar struggles can offer empathy and practical tips. The pitfalls of going it alone without support. Doubts grow louder and challenges feel heavier. Isolation can lead to increased stress and burnout, loss of motivation, narrow thinking and stagnation, greater risk of giving up. How to build your support network. Identify your needs. What kind of support do you need? Emotional, practical, expert advice? Knowing this helps you seek the right people. Find like-minded communities, join groups, online or offline, related to your goals. Shared passion creates natural support. Seek mentors and coaches. Look for those who have walked the path before you. Their guidance can save you time and frustration. Build accountability partnerships. Find a peer or a friend to regularly check in with your progress. Mutual accountability doubles motivation. Be open and vulnerable. Don't hide struggles. Sharing challenges creates deeper connections and invites support. Support in action. Real-life examples. Many successful people credit their support systems for their breakthroughs. For example, Oprah Winfrey speaks openly about her mentors who helped shape her career. Athletes rely on coaches and teammates not only for skill development, but also for emotional strength. Support is a two-way street, remember. Support isn't just receiving. Giving support strengthens relationships and builds a positive cycle of encouragement. No matter how strong you are, the journey is easier and more sustainable when you don't go it alone. Chapter 6. Reframing Failure. How setbacks become stepping stones. Failure is often seen as the enemy, a sign that you're not good enough or that your goal is out of reach. But this mindset is one of the biggest reasons people give up. What if failure wasn't the end, but the beginning? Reframing how you see failure transforms it from a stopping point into a powerful tool for growth. Why failure feels so final. Our culture glorifies success and hides failure. Social media highlights achievements but rarely the struggles behind them. This creates pressure to be perfect and fear of making mistakes. When failure hits, it triggers strong emotions: shame, frustration, and disappointment. These feelings make quitting feel like the safest option. The truth about failure is not a reflection of your worth or ability. It's an essential part of any learning process. Every breakthrough in history, from scientific discoveries to artistic masterpieces, came after repeated failures. Thomas Edison's famous quote, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," captures this perfectly. How to reframe failure. See failure as feedback. Each setback teaches you what doesn't work and brings you closer to what will. Separate your identity from your outcomes. You are not your mistakes. Your value isn't defined by success or failure. Celebrate effort and learning. Focus on what you tried and what you learned, not just the result. Use failure to build resilience. Every time you recover, your mental toughness grows stronger. Practical steps to embrace failure. Keep a failure journal to track lessons learned. Share your failures with trusted friends or mentors to normalize setbacks. Set experiments instead of rigid goals, treating attempts as tests. Reflect regularly on progress and pivot strategies when needed. Stories of failure leading to success. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she was unfit for TV. Each faced rejection but reframed their failures as stepping stones. Failure is not your enemy. It's your most honest teacher. When you embrace failure, giving up becomes much less likely. Chapter 7. The role of environment. How your surroundings shape your success. Your environment, the people, places, and things around you, plays a powerful role in whether you keep going or give up. It influences your mindset, habits, and energy in ways you might not even realize. Many people overlook this factor, focusing solely on willpower or motivation. But changing your environment can make the difference between quitting and pushing through. Why environment matters. Your brain is wired to respond to cues in your surroundings. These cues trigger habits, emotions, and behaviors. When your environment supports your goals, it becomes easier to stay on track. When it doesn't, obstacles multiply. Think about it. A messy, distracting workspace can sap your focus. Negative or unsupportive people can drain your energy and confidence. On the other hand, inspiring spaces and encouraging people fuel your momentum. The environment. Mind connection studies show that environment shapes about 40% of our behavior. This means that even the strongest motivation struggles to overcome a poor environment. Creating an environment aligned with your goals reduces decision fatigue and makes productive actions automatic. How to design your environment for success. Physical space. Organize your workspace or living areas to minimize distractions and encourage focus. Remove temptations that derail progress. Social circles. Surround yourself with positive, goal-oriented people. Limit time with those who bring negativity or doubt. Digital environment. Manage your online habits. Unfollow accounts that discourage or distract. Follow those who inspire and educate. Tools and resources. Keep materials and resources handy to support your efforts. Books, workout gear, notebooks, or apps. Small environmental changes with big impact. Creating a dedicated workspace for focused work. Scheduling regular meetups or calls with supportive peers. Setting phone limits or using apps to block distractions. Decorating your space with motivational quotes or images. Real-life examples. Successful people often credit their environment for their achievements. Writers who isolate in quiet spaces, athletes who train with dedicated teams, and entrepreneurs who build mastermind groups all leverage their surroundings. Your environment is the silent partner in your journey. Shape it well, and it will carry you forward. Shape it poorly, and it will hold you back. Chapter 8. The Discipline Myth. Why you don't need to feel like it to follow through. One of the biggest lies we're told about success is that you need to feel like it in order to take action. We think discipline is some rare superpower, reserved for the motivated few who wake up every day excited to grind. But here's the truth. You don't have to feel like it. You just have to do it. Most people wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect mindset. And in doing so, they give up, not because they couldn't succeed, but because they were relying on emotion instead of system. What discipline actually is. Discipline isn't about force or willpower. It's about creating structure. It's the ability to act according to your values and goals, even when you don't feel motivated. It's showing up when it's boring. It's doing the work when it's not exciting. It's keeping the promise you made to yourself, especially when no one else is watching. The problem with waiting for motivation is emotional. It's like weather. It comes and goes. If your action plan depends on motivation, you'll constantly start and stop. The result, inconsistency, frustration, guilt, and eventually, giving up. How to build discipline that lasts. Use rituals, not emotion. Rituals create rhythm. Don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? Instead ask, what's my routine right now? Create a non-negotiable minimum, even on bad days. Have a small action you always complete. A journal entry, a 5-minute workout, 10 pages of reading. Progress matters more than perfection. Reduce decision-making. Plan your day and stick to it. The fewer choices you leave open, the less willpower you need. Anticipate resistance. Know the excuses your mind will offer, and have a pre-made response. Discipline grows when you beat your own patterns. Reward completion. Track your wins. Celebrate consistency. This rewires your brain to crave follow-through. Discipline isn't harsh. Its freedom discipline isn't about punishment. It's about structure that protects you from the chaos of inconsistency. It's how you create freedom. Because when you do the hard things now, life gets easier later. Without discipline, goals die in the gap between intention and execution. The people who don't give up aren't superhuman. They just learn to show up when it's hard, to do the thing without needing to feel perfect. That's not magic, that's discipline. And it's within your reach. Chapter 9. Burnout and the Breakdown. Why rest is not a reward. It's a requirement sometimes. It's not doubt or fear that makes people give up. It's exhaustion. Burnout doesn't always announce itself with a crash. Often, it creeps in slowly. You start feeling numb, unfocused, or irritable. The work that once inspired you now feels like a burden. You push harder, thinking hustle will fix it. But the harder you push, the worse it gets. Eventually you stop, not because you wanted to quit, but because your body and mind gave out. If you don't learn to manage burnout, it will manage you. What burnout really is burnout isn't just being tired. It's a deep emotional, physical, and mental depletion that drains your ability to care, decide, or create. It happens when sustained effort goes unmatched by recovery. You can burn out even doing something you love, especially when you don't set boundaries. The myth of just push through many people equate rest with laziness and exhaustion with commitment. But grinding through burnout is not strength, it's self-destruction. Think of yourself like a high-performance engine. Power requires fuel, maintenance, and cooldowns. Without them, you'll break down. Warning signs of burnout: constant fatigue, even after sleep, diminished passion or enthusiasm, increased irritability, or anxiety difficulty, focusing or making decisions, withdrawal from people or activities you once enjoyed, feeling like nothing is ever enough. If you're experiencing these, it's not weakness, it's a signal. And signals are meant to be listened to, not ignored. How to recover and prevent burnout: schedule recovery like you. Schedule work block time for rest, breaks, and activities that refill your energy. Don't treat self-care as optional. Set boundaries, say no to things that drain you. Protect your time, attention, and energy the same way you protect your money. Reconnect with purpose. Burnout often disconnects you from why you started. Take time to reflect on your mission. Reignite the emotional spark. Nourish your body. Hydration, movement, sleep, and nutrition aren't side notes. They're the foundation of sustainable progress. Take mental inventory. Often journal your feelings. Check in with your emotional state. Ask, am I operating from overflow or from empty? Rest is a weapon, not a weakness. The world celebrates hustle, but hustle without rest leads to collapse. Rest is not the enemy of progress. It's what makes progress possible. The most resilient people are not the ones who never stop. They're the ones who know when to stop and recharge. You're not a machine. You're human. And humans need recovery. Don't wait until you're burned out to start caring for yourself. Build rest into your system so quitting never becomes your only option. Chapter 10. Identity shift. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't give up. At the heart of every long-term success story isn't just discipline, strategy, or even talent. It's identity. People who stick with their goals don't just do certain things. They start to see themselves in a new way. They shift their identity from someone who tries into someone who is. Someone who doesn't give up. This chapter is about making that shift. Because when your actions align with who you believe you are, consistency becomes natural, and giving up becomes unthinkable. Why? Identity drives behavior. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who always quits when it gets hard, you'll keep repeating that pattern. But if you start to believe, I am the kind of person who follows through, your behavior will rise to meet that standard. Your identity becomes your internal compass. It silently shapes your decisions, your routines, and how you respond to challenges. Identity versus outcome. Most people chase outcomes. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 6 figures. I want to write a book, but outcomes are temporary. Identity is permanent. The better approach is, I'm becoming someone who trains consistently. I am the kind of person who creates value and earns well. I am a writer. I write every day. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, and those systems are built around who you believe you are. How to shift your identity, decide who you want to become, be specific. I want to be better, but I want to become someone who finishes what they start. Act in alignment daily. Every small win becomes a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Keep casting votes, even when they're tiny. Use identity-based affirmations. I don't give up. I adapt and keep going. I'm the kind of person who stays consistent, even when it's hard. Let go of labels. Stop telling yourself, I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, or I've never been disciplined. That's your past, not your potential. Surround yourself with reinforcements. Spend time with people who already live the identity you're aiming for. Their habits will rub off on you. Real examples of identity shifts. A smoker doesn't just quit by saying, I'm trying to quit. The breakthrough comes when they say, I'm not a smoker anymore. A runner doesn't just jog. They say, I'm a runner. And then they run, even on days they don't feel like it. Someone serious about change stops dabbling. They decide, this is who I am now. Identity is built, not found. You don't find your identity. You create it through repeated action. Every time you choose progress over quitting, you're carving a new identity into your brain. Eventually, I don't give up isn't something you say. It's who you are. Chapter 11. The Long Game. Mastering the art of showing up, again and again. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is rarely talent. It's not even always timing. The real difference, they kept showing up. Success isn't built in dramatic, once-in-a-lifetime moments. It's built in the quiet repetition of effort, the invisible commitment to keep showing up. Especially when no one's watching, especially when the results are slow. This is the long game, and most people never learn how to play it. Why consistency beats intensity. Anyone can sprint for a day. Maybe even a week. You can go hard when you're excited, when the vision is fresh, when you're fired up. But intensity fades, life happens, motivation dies. The winners, the ones who finish, are the ones who master consistency. They don't show up when it's easy. They show up regardless. Success doesn't reward the person who burns the brightest. It rewards the person who burns the longest. What playing the long game looks like: writing a paragraph a day until the book is done. Making one sale at a time until the business grows. Training on the days when you don't feel like it. Reading for 10 minutes instead of scrolling for 30. Choosing progress, not perfection. It looks unremarkable in the moment, even boring. But over time, it becomes unstoppable. The enemy of the long game, impatience. Impatience is a dream killer. It tells you lies like, it's taking too long. You should be further along. If it hasn't worked by now, it won't. And when you believe those lies, you stop doing the very things that would have worked. If only you had kept going. How to stay in the game. Measure the right things. Don't obsess over results. Track effort. Track presence. Focus on what you can control. Build streaks, not sprints. Create momentum by doing small actions every day. Never break the chain. Zoom out regularly. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every day to see if it's growing. Trust the process. Reflect monthly, not daily. Forgive the misses. Life will interrupt you. You will fall short. The long game isn't about being perfect. It's about always coming back. The invisible compounding of persistence. The day you want to quit the most is the day your breakthrough might be closest. But you'll never know if you stop showing up. That extra rep. That final draft. That one more call. You don't see the tipping point until after it tips. And it only tips for those who stayed in the game long enough. Become the person who stays. People will count you out. Life will test you. Doubt will visit you. Results will lag behind effort. But you show up anyway. Because that's who you are now. You're in it for the long game. And that changes everything. Chapter 12. The Pivot Principle. When to adapt instead of abandon, there's a difference between quitting and pivoting. Quitting is walking away. Pivoting is adjusting the plan so you can keep going. Most people give up too soon, not because the goal is wrong, but because the method isn't working, and they don't know they're allowed to change it. They hit a wall and assume it's the end. But more often than not, that wall is a signal, not a stop sign. If you want to be someone who doesn't give up, you need to master the art of the pivot. Why people give up when things stop working. It's easy to start strong with a perfect plan. But what happens when that plan doesn't deliver? The workout routine becomes unsustainable. The business strategy stops bringing in results. The creative process starts to feel stuck. Instead of asking, how can I do this differently? Most people ask, why isn't this working? What's wrong with me? Then they give up. Not because the dream wasn't real, but because they didn't realize the strategy was flexible. Growth requires flexibility. Staying committed to a goal does not mean staying committed to a failing approach. Rigid systems crack under pressure. Adaptable ones bend and evolve. What separates achievers from quitters is the willingness to course correct again and again without letting ego or fear get in the way. Signs it's time to pivot. Not quit. You're exhausted, but not because of the goal, because of how you're pursuing it. Progress has completely stalled for a long period, despite consistent effort. You dread the process, not just because it's hard, but because it's no longer aligned with your values or lifestyle. You're getting feedback from results or mentors that another method might be better. How to pivot without losing momentum. Revisit the why. Get clear on what outcome you truly want. Your method may change, but your why stays steady. Identify what's not working. Is it your schedule, your tools, your focus, your environment? Pinpoint the weak spot, then improve it. Experiment with small changes. Don't scrap the whole system overnight. Adjust one thing at a time. Track how it impacts your energy, focus, and results. Ask for perspective. A mentor, coach, or peer can often see what you can't. Get outside input before making major shifts. Give the pivot time to prove itself. Don't expect instant results. Let the new method breathe. Let it work. Pivots that changed everything. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, then pivoted, returned, and reinvented the company. Authors rewrite entire manuscripts before hitting the bestseller list. Athletes change coaches, routines, or techniques mid-career and reach new peaks. These aren't signs of failure, they're signs of flexible persistence. Stay committed to the destination, not just the route. Think of your goal like a mountain. There are 1,000 ways up. Trails, switchbacks, even climbing gear. If the path you're on gets blocked, do you turn around and go home? Or do you find another way up? Pivot Principle says, you don't quit the mountain, you just find another way to climb it. Chapter 13. The Power of Vision. Seeing beyond the struggle when the path gets hard. What keeps you going? Not motivation. Not discipline alone. It's vision. A clear picture of who you're becoming and where you're headed. Vision gives meaning to the struggle. Without it, the work feels pointless. With it, every setback becomes a stepping stone. It's your North Star, the reason you push forward when everything in you wants to stop. Most people give up because they lose sight of what they're fighting for. This chapter is about helping you see it again, clearly, vividly, and powerfully. Why you need a clear vision. You can't endure pain for no reason. You can't fight through resistance without something worth fighting for. Vision answers the question, why does this matter to me? When your why is strong enough, your how becomes flexible. Obstacles shrink in comparison to the future you're creating. But vague goals like get better or make more money won't cut it. You need something deeper, something emotional, something personal. What a powerful vision looks like. A strong vision is emotional. It stirs something in you: excitement, fire, hope. Specific. It's not just success, it's your version of success. Future-focused. It pulls you forward beyond your current limits. Identity-based. It's not just what you want, it's who you want to become. Examples. I'm building a life where I control my time, my income, and my peace. I'm becoming the kind of person my kids will look up to. I'm creating something that will outlive me. How to reignite your vision: get quiet and reflect, block out the noise. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like in 1, 5, 10 years? What do I want to be proud of when I look back? Write it down in detail. Describe your ideal life as if it's already real. How you feel where you live, how you spend your days. Make it vivid. Visualize it daily. Close your eyes and see it. Feel it. Let it become familiar. Let it become fuel. Connect your current actions to that future. Everything you do today is a brick in the foundation of that future. Even the small, boring, or hard things matter, because they're part of building what's coming. Vision makes struggle worth it. You're not just grinding for the sake of it. You're building something that matters. And on the days you feel tired, discouraged, or stuck, your vision is what pulls you forward. You can survive discomfort. You can endure setbacks. But you can't survive without meaning. If you're going to keep going, you need to see it. See the version of you who didn't quit. See the life you're creating through every hard choice. See the payoff on the other side of the pain. And when you lose sight of it, you stop, reset, and look again. Because the clearer your vision, the longer you'll last. Chapter 14. The comparison trap: how looking sideways can kill your progress. You start your journey excited, focused, and hopeful. Then you glance sideways. You see someone who's already where you want to be. Fitter, richer, more successful, more confident. Their progress seems effortless. Yours feels slow, clumsy, invisible. And just like that, your energy fades. Doubt creeps in. You start wondering if it's even worth it. This is the comparison trap, and it's one of the most silent killers of dreams. Why comparison is so dangerous: comparison takes your eyes off your own path and turns your journey into a competition you didn't ask to be in. It tells you lies like, you should be further by now. You'll never catch up. Why even bother when they're already better? And those lies don't just hurt your confidence. They destroy your momentum. What once inspired you now overwhelms you. What once excited you now makes you feel behind. Left unchecked, comparison convinces you to give up, not because you're not growing, but because you're not growing as fast as someone else. The truth about other people's progress: most of what you see is surface level. You don't see the years behind someone's overnight success. You don't see the failures, doubts, or sacrifices. You see a highlight, and you compare it to your behind the scenes. It's not fair, and it's not real. Their path isn't your path. Their timeline isn't your timeline. Their purpose isn't your purpose. How to escape the comparison trap: unfollow strategically. If someone's content triggers insecurity more than inspiration, mute or unfollow. Protect your mental space. Turn comparison into curiosity. Instead of, why not me? Ask, what can I learn from them? Use others as proof of what's possible, not as evidence that you're losing. Track your own growth. Keep a personal progress log. Measure backwards, not against others, but against your past self. Celebrate others. Stay rooted in yourself. Another person's win is not your loss. Applaud them, and then return your focus inward. Remind yourself, you're only racing one person, and that person is you. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your progress. It steals your peace. But only if you let it. Every second spent wishing you were on someone else's chapter is a second you're not writing your own. You don't need to be the best, just your best. Forget the rankings. Forget the timelines. Forget the illusion that someone else's life defines the value of your own. You're not late. You're not behind. You're building, and your time is coming. Keep your eyes on your own paper. That's how you win. Chapter 15. Progress, not perfection. Why imperfect action beats perfect inaction. Every time, perfectionism is a quiet kind of poison. It disguises itself as ambition, high standards, and excellence. But underneath, it's just fear in disguise. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of being judged. Fear of failing in public. And while you're waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect version of yourself, time passes, progress stalls, momentum dies. Eventually, you give up. Not because you couldn't succeed, but because you were waiting to do it flawlessly. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Most people don't quit because they lack ability. They quit because they can't accept imperfection. They'd rather do nothing than do it wrong. They'd rather wait than risk looking messy. But progress requires movement, and movement is messy by nature. The high cost of chasing perfect: you delay starting. You obsess over research, planning, tweaking, but never begin. You're never satisfied. Even when you make progress, it's not enough. You're paralyzed by mistakes. Every small error feels like failure. You burn out. Trying to be flawless all the time is exhausting. You quit early. When things aren't going perfectly, you assume it's not working. Perfectionism doesn't just slow you down, it stops you. Why imperfect action wins? It builds momentum. It creates feedback you can use to improve. It teaches you faster than theory ever will. It shifts your identity from someone who plans to someone who does. It keeps you moving, adapting, learning, and that's what leads to long-term success. How to let go of perfection: set process goals, not just outcome goals. Instead of write a best-selling book, aim for write 500 words every day. Instead of launch a perfect business, aim for talk to 3 potential customers this week. Take B action on purpose. Start with good enough. Get it out. Improve as you go. Excellence is built on many drafts, not one perfect one. Use the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results will come from 20% of your efforts. Focus on what moves the needle, not every little detail. Ask, what's the next tiny step? Shrink your next action until it's too small to fail. Then do it. Remind yourself, done is better than perfect every time. Every single time. Progress grows in the mess. Some of your biggest wins will come from things that looked ugly at first. Bad first drafts, awkward conversations, clumsy beginnings. But you only got there because you started, stayed, and kept showing up. Perfect doesn't exist, but better does. And you get better every time you act. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to be in motion. The road belongs to those who move, not those who wait to get it right. Chapter 16. The resistance within, winning the war against your inner critic. There is a voice in your head that doesn't want you to succeed. It's not always loud, but it's persistent. It tells you you're not good enough. It questions every move you make. It magnifies every flaw and minimizes every win. This voice is called the inner critic, and it is one of the biggest reasons people give up. Not because the dream is impossible, but because they believe the lie that they are. The inner critic's real goal: your inner critic is not evil. It's scared. Its job is to protect you, to keep you from embarrassment, failure, or rejection. But in trying to keep you safe, it also keeps you small. It confuses growth with danger. So every time you step outside your comfort zone, it screams, "Who do you think you are? You'll embarrass yourself. This will never work." And if you don't learn to recognize it, challenge it, and rise above it, you'll believe. The cost of listening to that voice: you shrink back instead of stepping forward. You hesitate when you need to act. You start sabotaging your own progress. You stop believing in your ability to change. You quit before you've even given yourself a chance. The inner critic rarely shows up at the start. It waits until you're tired, uncertain, or vulnerable. Then it whispers doubt, just when you need courage most. How to silence the inner critic? Name it, call it what it is. Give it a name if you have to: the doubter, the judge, the voice of fear. Once you name it, you create separation. Talk back when the critic says, "You're not good enough." Respond with truth. "Maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm learning and growing every day. I don't need to be amazing. I just need to be in motion. Gather evidence, list your wins, even the small ones. Keep proof of your growth nearby. When the critic talks, show it the facts. Switch the channel, redirect your focus. Instead of, what might go wrong, ask, what might go right? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what if this works? Use the critic as a compass sometimes. The presence of fear is confirmation that you're on the right track. If your critic is loud, it may mean you're growing. Keep going. Replacing the critic with the coach, you'll always have voices in your head. The key isn't to erase the critic, it's to amplify the coach. The inner coach says, this is hard, but you're capable. You've done hard things before. You'll do them again. You're not alone. You've got this. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to listen to the right voice. The war against your inner critic isn't won in one battle. It's won through daily awareness, daily truth, and daily action. Even when doubt lingers, your critic doesn't get the final say. You do. Chapter 17. Micro wins, massive impact. How small victories keep you in the game. Most people wait for big milestones to feel successful. The book deal, the six-figure launch, the perfect body, the applause. They chase massive wins and feel defeated when they don't come quickly. But here's the truth. Big wins don't keep you going. Small ones do. Small wins are the quiet engine of momentum. They're proof that something is working, that you're moving. That quitting now would mean stopping something that's already working, even if it's working slowly. Why micro wins matter more than you think. Your brain is wired to respond to progress. Even tiny steps forward release dopamine, the chemical that fuels motivation, focus, and drive. That means every small win isn't just a confidence boost. It's a chemical signal that tells your brain, keep going. This is work. When you ignore micro wins, you feel stuck. When you celebrate them, you feel unstoppable. Examples of micro wins that most people overlook: showing up to the gym when you didn't want to, writing 200 words, even when you had no inspiration, saying no to something that used to derail you, choosing a healthy meal over fast food, finishing a task you'd been avoiding, speaking up when fear said to stay silent, completing one more rep, one more page, one more call. These might not be Instagram worthy, but they're momentum worthy. The compounding effect of small win success is not one giant leap. It's a series of tiny steps, repeated. 1% progress daily becomes exponential growth. Small habits lead to big identity shifts. Tiny wins build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes confidence. Each win adds a brick to the foundation of your consistency. How to make micro wins part of your routine: track them. Use a notebook, app, or calendar. Mark off every day you show up. Watch your streak grow. Feel that sense of forward motion. Celebrate immediately. Don't wait for the real win. Let yourself feel proud right now. Smile. Fist pump. Say, that counts. Reflect weekly. Each week ask, what did I do this week that moved me forward? This helps reframe your focus from not enough to progress is happening. Stack wins early in the day. Start the day with a small success. A quick workout, reading, journaling, or making your bed. The first win sets the tone. Let micro wins build macro momentum. One win leads to the next. A good morning leads to a strong afternoon. A solid week leads to a powerful month. Your job is to stay in motion. You're not building a highlight reel. You're building a life. And that life is made not by giant moments, but by quiet, relentless, intentional wins. Celebrate every step, because every step is a reason to keep going. Chapter 18. Overcoming fear. Moving forward when fear says stop. Fear is one of the strongest forces that drives people to quit. It whispers doubts, paints worst-case scenarios, and magnifies risks until they seem insurmountable. Fear is primal, designed to protect you from danger. But in the modern world, it often stands between you and your dream. Understanding fear and learning how to work with it, rather than against it, is essential if you want to keep going when most people give up. Why fear feels so real. Fear activates your brain's survival mode. It floods your body with stress hormones, sharpens your focus on threats, and pushes you towards safety, which often means retreat, avoidance, or quitting. This response was vital for human survival thousands of years ago, but becomes a roadblock when your danger is a challenging conversation, a new business, or a personal goal. Common fears that lead to quitting: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of the unknown, fear of success. And the changes it brings. These fears aren't signs that you shouldn't proceed. They're signs you're stepping outside your comfort zone, which is exactly where growth happens. How to move forward despite fear: name your fear. Identify exactly what you're afraid of. Naming it reduces its power and gives you clarity. Break it down. What's the worst that could happen? Often your fear is bigger in your mind than reality. Write it out and plan how you'd handle it. Focus on action, not absence of fear. You don't have to be fearless to succeed. You just have to take the next step in spite of fear. Use fear as a signal. Fear shows you where the edges of your comfort zone lie. Lean into it. That's where transformation lies. Visualize success. Imagine yourself facing the fear and coming through stronger. Visualization can rewire your brain to respond with confidence. Real-life examples: J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global success. Fear didn't stop her, persistence did. Athletes often say they feel fear before big competitions, but channel it into focus and energy rather than retreat. Entrepreneurs risk public failure daily, but successful ones learn to work with fear, not run from. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a natural part of growth. It's uncomfortable, yes, but discomfort is the price of progress. When fear says, stop, respond with, not yet. When it tells you, you can't, answer, watch me. Fear will never fully disappear, but your courage can grow. And that courage will carry you beyond the point where most people give up. Chapter 19. Accountability. Why going it alone makes giving up easier. Going after big goals can feel lonely. When the journey is tough, having someone in your corner can make the difference between quitting and pushing through. Accountability isn't just about pressure or judgment. It's about connection, support, and commitment. It's a powerful force that helps you stay on track when your motivation falters. The danger of going it alone: when you're alone in your journey, self-doubt grows louder. It's easy to skip workouts, miss deadlines, or quit early when no one else is watching. Without accountability, procrastination sneaks in. Resistance gets stronger. The path becomes harder to navigate, and giving up becomes the tempting option. How accountability keeps you going: creates external commitment. Knowing someone else is counting on you makes it harder to back out. Provides encouragement and support. Accountability partners cheer your wins and help you through setbacks. Offers honest feedback. They see blind spots you miss and help you course correct. Builds a sense of belonging. Shared struggles and victories remind you that you're not alone. Types of accountability: peer accountability. Friends, colleagues, or peers who share similar goals. Mentors or coaches. Experienced guides who hold you to higher standards. Groups or communities. Supportive environments where progress is shared and celebrated. Public accountability. Sharing goals publicly, like on social media or blogs. How to build accountability into your journey: find someone you trust and respect. Set clear, specific goals together. Schedule regular check-ins and updates. Be honest about struggles and wins. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Real stories of accountability: saving the day writers who join critique groups, finish books they started years ago. Entrepreneurs with mastermind groups grow faster and weather setbacks better. Fitness buddies push each other to show up on days when giving up feels easiest. You don't have to do this alone. Accountability is a secret weapon, one that keeps you in the game when your own willpower wanes. Chapter 20. The Power of Purpose. Connecting your why to your willpower when the going gets tough. Willpower alone rarely keeps people moving forward. What fuels true persistence is purpose. A deep, personal reason for why you're doing what you're doing. Purpose isn't just a motivational catchphrase. It's a powerful force that anchors you through storms of doubt, fatigue, and frustration. It connects your daily grind to something bigger than yourself, making quitting unthinkable. Why purpose matters more than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like waves. Purpose is the tide that never stops pulling you forward. When you have purpose, setbacks become lessons, not failures. Challenges become opportunities to grow. The hard days become part of the journey, not reasons to quit. Without purpose, even the smallest obstacle can feel like a wall. Finding your purpose is not always obvious or immediate. It often requires digging beneath surface-level desires. Ask yourself, what impact do I want to make? How do I want to be remembered? What values do I refuse to compromise? Who am I doing this for? Your answers will point toward your true why. How purpose fuels willpower. Purpose creates emotional energy that far exceeds simple motivation. It turns "I have to" into "I get to." When your purpose is clear, discipline feels less like a chore and more like a calling. You find reserves of strength you didn't know you had. You keep going even when your body and mind say stop. Purpose in action. Real-life examples. Nelson Mandela endured decades of imprisonment because of his purpose to end apartheid. Athletes train through pain because they're driven by the purpose of representing their country or inspiring others. Entrepreneurs push through early failures because their purpose is to create change and opportunity. Aligning daily actions with purpose. Remind yourself daily of your why. Write it down and keep it visible. Connect small tasks to your bigger purpose. Even mundane steps have meaning. Reflect regularly on how far you've come and why you started. Purpose is the fuel that powers persistence. It turns the impossible into the inevitable. And when you connect deeply with your purpose, quitting is no longer an option. Subscribe for clear, consistent guidance to help you grow with purpose.